Hi, welcome to Happy Tales. I'm Cheryl Rosenthal's Communication and Education Coordinator here at the Oshkosh Area Humane Society.
And I'm Joni Geiger, Executive Director.
And today, Joni, our Happy Tales show is going to be all about alternatives to declawing.
Great. Yep. So this is kind of exciting. I don't think we've talked about this before on any of our shows, and there's so many neat new things out there that I think that it's really timely to talk about this and make a discussion about, what's out there. And, declawing is sometimes a little prickly as far as
it's
like
a very
subject.
Emotional subject.
Yes,
very emotional.
So, and we come from, as a humane society, we come from people just making an informed decision.
Correct.
We feel very strongly about people having all the facts, and then based on that, making that decision. So let's talk a little bit about that. What actually is declawing?
Well, declawing is an actual amputation of the first digit of the cat's toe. And a lot of people think it's just removing the nail. Well, that nail is attached to the first joint.
Right.
And, cats retract their claws.
Sure.
And really, rather than it retracting downward, it pops up this way.
Okay.
And that whole part of the cat's toe is removed. And people need to remember that cats are what's called digitigrade, which means they walk on their toes.
Right.
And so when you remove, if you and I had a portion of our toes removed, it could affect our balance, how we feel. And for cats, that's their natural defense,
Sure.
is their claws.
Sure.
And so it's something that people really need to get all the facts about before they do that, because once your cat is declawed, you can't go back.
Right,
And
absolutely.
so there's a lot of things that people can do. And, the truth of the matter is, Joni, it's not hard to train a cat. A lot of people think, well, I can train a dog, but you can't train a cat.
Right, right.
And it's just that the method is different. And teaching a cat to scratch appropriately is really relatively simple. And I always remind people, again, cats are low maintenance. They're not no maintenance. So you've got to have a little bit of training that you're willing to put in
and
there.
that makes that makes a lot of sense, Cheryl. I mean, anything worth doing is worth doing well. And the truth of the matter is that, we get a lot of people that come in to the shelter and they have some questions about, training their cat, and I think there is somewhat of a fallacy out there as far as just, you can't train a cat, and
Right.
you can. You're absolutely. You hit the nail right on the head when you say it's different than a dog.
Right.
So let's talk about some of those techniques for
Well,
training.
and one of the first things, again, scratching is a natural behavior for cats.
Right.
It's a natural behavior. Cats are territorial, and I think most people who have ever owned a cat realize that they're very territorial. And they mark their territory by using the scent glands that are
Right.
in their paws.
Right.
Also, they have scent glands around their mouth, between their eyes
Right.
and their ears.
Right.
If you ever notice when you bring something new home from the store,
Rub it up,
they're
yeah.
rubbing. And when your cat gives you a headbutt, he's marking you as territory.
Sure.
A lot of us, we love to interpret that as, oh, my kitty loves me. Truth be told, he's marking us as territory,
Right.
friendly marking.
Right.
This is mine, this
Right.
is mine. And this is especially true when a cat first moves into a new home. It's like, oh, nothing smells like me,
Right.
so I have to mark everything.
Right.
And then they also visually mark. And that's done with their claws.
Right.
But you need to teach them what they can and cannot scratch.
Right, and let's talk about that. I have a lot of people who come in and I work with, and they think that cats just randomly go through the entire house and they scratch everything. And that's not really true, is it?
It really isn't. If you do have a cat that is, if I would get a call that somebody said, my cat is just scratching everything, that's a sign of stress.
Okay.
So
Good to
there
know.
can be something else that's going on with that kitty that's making them that nervous and feeling that threatened that they have to be marking their territory.
And when we talk about marking territory too, I just want to make this really, really clear for people, because when people think
Marking.
cats and marking, they're
thinking of the urine marking, where they raise their tail and back up
Right.
against something. This is visual.
We're not talking about this.
No. I used to have a cat, Joni, that we had a love seat that sat in the middle of our living room, kind of at an angle. And he would just pull one thread on this love love seat. And I would tolerate it for, you know, a week or so, and then I would cut that thread. And it wouldn't be 2 days, and Charlie had one thread. And that was his way of letting all the other cats and anybody in the household know that that was his love seat.
Right.
This is my area of the house.
Sure.
Don't mess with my stuff.
Sure.
And we just kind of laughed because there were deterrents that I could have used, but after a while I just decided, you know, it's one thread, let it be. And then when people would say, oh, you've got a pole on your couch, I go, yeah, I'll cut that off later, you know, and just ignore it.
Let's talk about deterrents first, and then we'll get into what's actually out there.
Okay.
So, you know, we've discussed this a number of times where you know, let's say your kitty is scratching the back of your couch or scratching the woodwork, and what would you recommend to people for deterrents?
The first thing you have to do is, the majority of us work during the day. We can't be there 24/7. And if you're working, or you can't be watching the cat, you have to make sure that they don't have access to that item that they have decided that they want to scratch. Because if you only correct the cat when you're home and the cat has access, let's say, to the couch, while you're at work all day, the cat learns real fast, well, I'll just scratch the couch while they're gone.
Right.
And it's very important that when you deter the cat, like, okay, you catch the cat scratching on the back of the couch, you go, clap your hands, kitty, no. Take them over to the scratching post, bring them over to the scratching post, and you never take their paws and go, here, scratch here. What you're going to do is you're going to go, oh, look at this, let's play here.
Right.
And then you reward the cat for scratching appropriately. Now, to make that couch less inviting, you can use stinky lemon air freshener, a solid air freshener maybe by the back of the couch. A lot of cats don't like that. Putting a throw over the couch. And you don't, this is temporary. A lot of times when you put a throw on something like a sheet or something like that, and the cat comes up to scratch on it, that throw is going to move, and they're going to get caught in it.
Right.
And that's why they don't want to scratch there. Cats want to scratch on things that have a very solid base, and that's why when people have short little scratching posts like this, and they really want to dig their claws in there and pull, if that teeter-totters to them at all, they're like, scratchers that go on doors.
Right.
They dangle back and forth, and the cat gets their claws in there, and then they're trying to get it out, and this thing is moving with them. That's a deterrent right there.
Right.
If it moves, I'm not going to scratch on it. If it's big and solid like the sofa, And cats also like different fabrics, the feel of different things on their feet.
Material is important to
Material is very important. So I have a nubby footstool at my house. It was my mother's. And I have one cat that, he loves that nubby fabric. And so it's been kind of a challenge to get him not to, and it's funny now because if I see him going toward that and I go, there's a scratching post right next to it, and he'll scratch on the scratching post like, okay, I won't do that.
Well, and I have to tell you, an experience of my own. I recently brought 2 new chairs, and my cats are not declawed, and they, they're very, very good about scratching appropriately. And of course, when I bring these chairs home, and I'm all excited, and I'm decorating, and I'm moving things around, and so what happens? But the kitty goes right over the back of the chair and starts, scratching on it.
He's trying to make it his own.
Yes, exactly.
He's welcoming the chair into his territory.
Which, of course, I knew, and so, we just let a little bit of that happen, and then, of course, what I need to do then is to think about a deterrent, and what I did was I did move one of our scratching posts over closer to the back of the chair, and then I took masking tape and rolled it over on the back of the chair, and I just, like you said, this is not permanent. I'm not going to live like this. This is just temporary for the kitty to understand and recognize that when I do that, something bad happens. I get tape on me.
Double-sided sticky tape works well. For some cats, again, I'm going to go back to my love seat. After we lost our Charlie, I wanted to make sure that my other cats didn't scratch theirs, so I used the real shiny, clear shipping tape.
Oh, sure.
And I put a little dish soap on that.
Makes sense.
And every time my cats came up to that shiny, if they would touch it or get near it, it would smell like the Dawn dish soap, and they'd go, ooh, I don't want to scratch on that, and they leave it alone. So you don't have to, living with cats with claws does not mean you have to have shredded furniture.
Right.
And so many times, Joni, people will have an old chair and they'll say,
yeah.
oh, I'll let the cat scratch on that old chair. It's kind of like the adage of giving a dog your old shoes. They don't know the difference between your old shoes and your new shoes. The same with furniture. You let the cat scratch on this chair. When you get new furniture, they're just going to think, well, they let me do it before.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
there's so many cool things that you can incorporate into your home. And truth be told, if you have cats, your friends and your family know that you have cats, and they should expect to see some of the decor in your home dedicated to the well-being of your cats.
Absolutely. I totally agree.
And they can be quite fashionable.
Sure. Well, real quickly, because we've got a lot to cover today. I mean, this is just a
tip of the iceberg.
Tip of the iceberg. Let's talk about the nail themselves. People think they're sharpening their nails. Let's talk about what they're really doing.
Okay. A cat's nail grows in layers like an onion.
Okay.
And so if this is a cat's nail, there's all these sheaths that cover the nail.
Right.
And as the nail grows, they need to get rid of those outer shells.
Right.
And the only way that they can do that is by either chewing on their nails or scratching on something that they can clean, pull that off.
Pull that off.
Now what happens when we cut the cat's nails, for a short time after that, the cat may scratch a little bit more for a day or two to make sure that they get all those hulls off.
Right.
And or when the cat's nail, because these are cats that live indoors, as their nail continues to grow, if they don't have something that helps to wear down the nail is going to keep growing and growing, and the cat is going to start to be uncomfortable because when they walk, they stick to everything. And so they start to scratch even more when their nails are too long because they're uncomfortable.
Okay.
They're kind of like the dog that walks across your kitchen floor and click, click, click.
Right.
So we have to find that happy medium.
Sure.
By trimming their nails, that can help a lot. Cats that are older, just like you and I, if you look at your hand, maybe you've got a couple fingernails that grow faster than others.
Sure.
You may have to trim those nails more often. Some cats, as they get older, their nails get thicker and thicker,
harder and thicker,
and they're not always able to groom those. So they're not scratching to sharpen their nails. They're trying to shorten or to groom their nails in the only way that they know how. And if you have a scratching post or something, you may actually find some of those little hulls around and wonder, what the heck is that? And it's your cat's, the outer shell of your cat's nail.
All right. Well, we're just going to pause for a second here, and we're going to move on to some of the things that are out there for kitties, and we'll go from there, okay?
Okay.
All right.
Good.